My friend not the great.
Naram Chaiva Tasdina Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Unmute herself.
Sorry. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayudire Nashtraprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttama Sloge Bhaktivinoda Naishtigi. Hare Krishna. Chapter 9. Answers by citing the Lord's version. Text 1. Shri Yuga Uvacha Atmamaya Rajan Parasyanubhavatmanaha Nagadetartha Sambandaha Sapta Drishturi Vanjasa.
Translation. Sri Shukdev Goswami said, O king, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to the relationship of the pure soul in pure consciousness with material body. That relationship is just like a dreamer's seeing his own body working. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 2. Bahurupa iva bhati mayayaya bahurupaya ramamano guneshwaswa mamahamiti manyate.
The illusioned living entity appears in so many forms offered by the external energy of the Lord. While enjoying in the modes of material nature, the uncaged living entity misconceives thinking in terms of I and mine.
Text 3. Yerhi vava mahinmesu parasmin kala mayayoha remeta geta sammohas tasyokto dasta tadopayam.
As soon as the living entity becomes situated in his constitutional glory and begins to enjoy the transcendence beyond time and material energy, he at once gives up the two misconceptions of life, I and mine, and thus becomes fully manifested as the pure self.
Text 4. Atma tattva vishuddhyartam yadaha bhagavanirtam brahmane darshayan rupam avyalika pratatrataha.
O King, the personality of Godhead, being very much pleased with the Lord Brahma because of his non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented this eternal and transcendental form before Brahma, and that is the objective goal for purifying the conditioned soul.
Text 5. Sa adi devo jagatam paro guruha swadishnamastaya sisheshata tam nadaya gacchad drishyamandra sammadam prapancha nirmana vidiryaya bhavet.
Lord Brahma, her spiritual master, supreme in the universe, could not trace out the source of his lotus seed, and while thinking of creating the material world, he could not understand the proper direction for such creative work, nor could he find out the process for such creation.
Text 6. Sachintayan dvi aksharamekadambasi upasyanot tva gaditam vachaha vibuha spasheshu yashodasha megavimsham nishkinchananam nirbhayattanam viduha.
While thus engaged in thinking, in the water, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby two syllables joined together. One of the syllables was taken from the 16th and the other from the 21st of the Spanish alphabets, and both joined to become the wealth of the renounced order of life.
Text 7. Nishamaya tadvikta didishaya disho vilogya tatranu peshatyat Manaha Swadishnamastaya Vimrshya Tadditam Sabit Tabasyobadishta Ivadate Manaha.
When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides, but when he was unable to find anyone beside him, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed.
Text 8. Divyam Sahasrabda Moga Darshano Jitanilatmo Vijito Bhayendriyaha Adapradas Magilo Lokatapanam Tabastiyapiyam Tabastiyapiyam Stabadam Samahidaha.
Lord Brahma underwent penances for 1,000 years. By the calculations of the demigods, he heard this transcendental vibration from the sky. He accepted it as divine. Thus he controlled his mind and senses, and the penances he executed were a great lesson for the living entities. Thus he is known as the greatest of all ascetics.
Text 9. Tasme salokam Bhagavan Sabhajitaha Sandarshayamasa Param Nayat Param Viveda Samklesha Vimoha Sadvasam Sudishtavad Purushai Bhishtidam.
The personality of Godhead, being thus very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma, was pleased to manifest his personal abode, Vaikuntha, the supreme planet above all others. This transcendental abode of the Lord is adored by all self-realized persons, freed from all kinds of miseries and fear of illusory existence.
Text 10. Pravartate yatra rajastamo yastayo sattvam cha misram na cha kala vikramaha na yatra maya kimutapamem haret anuvrata yatra sura surarchitaha.
In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time. So, what to speak of the illusory external energy? It cannot enter that region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees.
Text 11. श्यामावतात शतपत्रलोचनाः पिशङ्गवस्त्रासुरजस्सुपेशसा सर्वे सर्वे शदुर्बाहवे उन्मिषन्मन्ये निष्काभरणे सुवर्चसा.
The inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers. Their dress is of yellowish color, and their bodily features very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. They all have 4 hands. They are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent.
Text 12. Pravala Vaidurya Mrinala Varchasaha Parispurat Kundala Mauli Maliniha.
Some of them are effulgent like coral and diamonds in complexion and have garlands on their heads blooming like lotus flowers, and some wear earrings.
Text 13. Prajishmriya Parito Virajate Lasatmanavali Bir Mahatmanam Vidyodamanaha Pramadottamadyubi Savidyut Abravali Abiritya Nabaha.
The Vaikunth planets are also surrounded by various airplanes, all glowing and brilliantly situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas or devotees of the Lord. The ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions, and all these combined together appear just like the sky decorated with both clouds and lightning.
Text 14. Sriritrerupinya urakaya patayoha karoti manam bahuda vibhutipi prengam sritaya kusumaka anuragir vikiyamana priyakarma gayati.
The goddess of fortune in her transcendental form is engaged in the loving service of the Lord's lotus feet, and being moved by the black bees, followers of spring, she is not only engaged in variegated pleasure, service to the Lord along with her constant companions, but is also engaged in singing the glories of the Lord's activities.
Text 15. Tadarsha tatra kila satvadam padim sriyapadim yajnapadim jagatpadim sunandananda prabalarhanabhi swapashatagre parisevidam vibhum.
Lord Brahma saw in the Vaikunth planets the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the entire devotee community, the Lord of the goddess of fortune, the Lord of all sacrifices, and the Lord of all universe, and who is served by the foremost servitors like Nanda, Sunanda, Prabhala, and Arhana, his immediate associates.
Text 16. Brit prasadipi mugam drikasavam prasannahasarunalocananam kiritinam kundalinam chadurpucham pidamshukam vakshasi lekshidam shriya.
The personality of Godhead, seen leaning favorably towards his loving servitors, his very sight, intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a helmet on his head. He had 4 hands, and his chest was marked with the lines of Goddess of Fortune.
Text 17. Adrir haniyasanamastitam param vritam chadushkodasha pancha shaktibi yuktam vaike swaire taritre chadruveha swa eva daman remamanamishwaram.
The Lord was seated on his throne and was surrounded by different energies like the 4, the 16, the 5, and the 6 natural opulences, along with other insignificant energies of the temporary character. But he was the factual Supreme Lord, enjoying his own abode.
Text 18. Taddashanahlada paripludondairu Krishyetanuha prema parasrulochanaha nanama padambujamasya vishwasrit yat paramaha hamsena padadigamyade.
Lord Brahma, thus seeing the personality of Godhead in his fullness, was overwhelmed with joy within his heart, and thus in full transcendental love and ecstasy, his eyes filled with tears of love, he thus bowed down before the Lord. That is the way of the highest perfection for the living being, Param Hansa.
Text 19. Tam priyamanam samubhastitam kavim prajavisarge nijasasanarhanam bebasha ishasmidashojisha gira priyaha priyam prida manaha kare sprishan.
And seeing Brahma present before him, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings, to be controlled as he desired, and thus being much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and slightly smiling addressed him thus.
Text 20. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Toyaham Toshitaha Samrit Vedakarpasisrishaya Chiram Vritena Tabasa Dustosho Kuda Yoginam.
The beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma, O Brahma, impregnated with the Vedas, I'm very much pleased with your long accumulated penance, with the desire for creation. Hardly I pleased with pseudo mystics.
Text 21. Varam varaya bhadram te varesham mabi vanchitam brahma shreyah parishamaha pumsam madarshanavitim.
I wish you good luck, O Brahma. You may ask from me, the giver of all benediction, all that you may desire. You may know that the ultimate benediction as a result of all penances is to see me by realization.
Text 22. Manishidhanubhavoyam mamalokavalokanam yadubhasrutya mahasi chakarta paramam tabaha.
The highest perfectional ingenuity is the personal perception of my bodies, and this has been possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order.
Text 23. Pratyadishtam maya tatra tvayi karma vimohite tavo me hritayam sashat atmaham tava sonaka.
Hare Krishna, what happened?
Translation.
Sorry. O sinless Brahma, you may know me. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance. When you were perplexed in your duty, such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Let me see what happened. It's disappeared. Thank you, Mataji, for your very nice recitation. Welcome, everyone, to today's session. So we will continue with our reading and discussion of the second canto, chapter number 9, on chapter entitled Answers by Citing the Lord's Version. And today we are doing text number is it 19 and 20? No, let me have a look.
Prabhuji is 22 to 24.
22 to 24. Sorry, I've been away, so I'm a bit behind. Okay, before we discuss the verses, let's recite the Mangala Charanam prayers. And you can also do so by the unmuted mics. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivashadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasticha Dishatarine. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So just a quick refresh. So this section is setting the scene for the Lord's conversation with Lord Brahma. Firstly, Lord Brahma, darshan of the Vaikuntha planets. And this was quite amazing that Lord Brahma was given such a benediction. And then we moved on to the section which is text 19 to 25, where the Lord, being pleased with Lord Brahma, is going to offer Lord Brahma some benedictions. So it'll be interesting to see how the Lord asks and how Lord Brahma responds. Everything about Srimad Bhagavatam is instructive for us. Srila Prabhupada writes that every word, every syllable in the Bhagavatam is about Krishna. So these are instructive verses. So text number 22. Manisitanu bhavo yam mamaloka valokanam yad upashrutjarhasi chakarta paramam tapaha. What for what synonyms? Manisita, ingenuity. Anubhavaha, perception. Aham, I am this. Mama, my. Loka, abode. Avalokanam, seeing by actual experience. Yet, because. Upashrutya, hearing. Rahasi, in great penance. Chakarta, having performed. Paramam, highest. Tapaha, penance. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry to interrupt. Can you please share the screen? We can only see you, not the verses.
Oh, that's not a very good thing, is it?
Sorry.
No. Is that okay now?
Coming up now. Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji.
We can see it.
Yes, we can
Okay.
see it now.
Okay,
Thank
okay. So I'll read the translation again. The highest perfectional ingenuity is the personal perception of my abodes. And this has been possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order. Purport. The highest perfectional stage of life is to know the Lord by actual perception. Let's make sure that everyone's muted. This can be attained by everyone who is willing to discharge the act of devotional service to the Lord, as enjoined in the revealed scriptures that are standard and accepted by the bona fide acharyas, spiritual masters. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is the approved Vedic literature accepted by all the great acharyas, such as Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Chaitanya, Vishwanath, Baladev, Siddhanta Saraswati, and many others. In that Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna asks that one always be mindful of him, always be his devotee, always worship him only, and always bow down before the Lord. And by doing so, one is sure to go back home, back to Godhead, without any doubt. In other places also the same order is there, that one give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto the Lord without hesitation. And the Lord will give such a devotee all protection. These are the secrets of attaining the highest perfectional stage. Lord Brahma exactly followed these principles without any superiority complex. And thus he attained the highest perfectional stage of experiencing the abode of the Lord and the Lord himself with all of his paraphernalia. Impersonal realization of the effulgence of the Lord's body is not the highest perfectional stage, nor is the stage of Paramatma realization. The word manisita is significant. Everyone is falsely or factually proud of his so-called learning. But the Lord says that the highest perfectional stage of learning is to know him and his abode, devoid of all illusion. So beautiful verse and purport. All of us on the spiritual path want to attain the highest perfectional stage. That is our goal. And what is the highest perfectional stage? According to the Lord in this verse, the highest perfectional stage is to be able to perceive the Lord in the spiritual world. This is what the Lord is saying here. The perfectional stage purpose is to know the Lord by actual perception. That means to be able to see the Lord directly, to be able to experience the Lord directly. And then the verse says, how is this possible? So nice aspects of this verse. We get to learn what is the highest perfectional stage. We get to understand what it is. And then we get to understand how is it possible. The Lord is saying, Lord Brahma, you have achieved this stage, and this is possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the spiritual process is quite simple. We just have to hear from the Lord what he wants us to do. We need to follow it. And Prabhupada says, by doing so, one is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. And then Prabhupada adds, without any doubt. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, for the doubting soul, there is never any success. So in the purport, Prabhupada is calling upon us to have this confidence or the strong faith, the shraddha, that if we simply follow all that he has given us, all that he has presented to us in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and the books he's given us, and we put it into practice. It's not only about reading. Spiritual life is about experiencing and practicing. Then we are sure to go back to Godhead, without a doubt. I was thinking this is a statement we can highlight because Prabhupada is giving us this assurance. And we know that sometimes when Krishna makes a statement, we may not be able to have full confidence in it. because sometimes Krishna contradicts himself and he may even break his statement. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, declare it boldly, O Arjuna, that my devotee will never perish. I was listening to one lecture recently where Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna will never let his devotees' words go in vain. If a devotee says something, then Krishna will make sure that it is fulfilled. So here Srila Prabhupada is making a bold, confident statement. And we can have full confidence that if we follow, as Srila Prabhupada is saying in this verse, without doubt, Krishna will make it come to pass. As Srila Prabhupada is given in this purport, if we follow exactly, then Prabhupada is saying by doing so, one is sure to go back home, back to Godhead without any doubt. And Prabhupada goes on to say that these are the secrets of attaining the highest perfectional stage. Lord Brahma followed the principles, and Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada had some very interesting words. He said he follows these principles without any superiority complex. So nicely Srila Prabhupada is expressing it. That he followed it without any superiority complex. So Prabhupada is in one sense adding that if we follow the teachings that he has given us, if we follow the orders of the Lord and we practice it, there's a slight caveat. We have to do it without any superiority complex, meaning we have to be humble. We have to practice spiritual life humbly. Therefore, okay, how do I turn? Someone is making graphics here. Reshma Mataji, I know you're doing it unintentionally, but some of the other, it's coming in, it's blocking the words. So, therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Srinadapi Sunichena Tarodapi Sarishnena Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sadahari. That one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, ready to offer respects to all. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So Prabhupada's words, every word is just packed with so much of meaning and instruction. And he's adding here without any superiority complex. Then we can attain the highest perfectional stage. That's not an easy proposition for many of us because the ego is so strong. Even in spiritual life, sometimes we develop a holier than thou attitude, thinking we are better than others. Not only devotees, even people are not devotees. But we should never have that feeling that we are superior. In the final two lines or part of this, Prabhupada is saying the word manisita is very significant. And Prabhupada has translated manisita as ingenuity. Prabhupada is saying this word is significant. Everyone is falsely or factually proud of his so-called learning. But the Lord says that the highest perfectional stage of learning is to know him and his abode devoid of all illusion. So what's the main point Prabhupada is trying to make here? Ingenuity. Once Prabhupada said to the devotees, there is a genius within all of us. So what did Prabhupada mean by that? Where does ingenuity come from? You know, when we see, you know, famous composers like Mozart, when he's asked, so how did you compose such a magnificent symphony? He says, I don't know. I just sat down and it came. So ingenuity comes, is a revelation. It comes from the Lord, the super soul within the heart. So in the same way, Prabhupada is saying learning, and Prabhupada is using learning in a very specific context here. Saying learning means knowing the Lord. Knowing is about being devoid of delusion. This is a revelation, not that is achieved, not by our own endeavor, our own perfection, our own learning. It is revealed to us when the Lord is pleased with us. So Lord Brahma, he got to know everything because the Lord was pleased with him, as the Lord is saying in this verse. Okay, any questions or comments on this verse before we move on to the next one? Because I think we're doing today is 22 and 23, 24. Any comments, questions by anyone? Okay, let's move on. This is, I was reading the purport on the verse. It's just so, such an interesting, such an insightful verse and purport. So text number 23. Pratyadishtam maya tatra tvai karma vimoite tapome hridayam shakshad atmaham tapaso son agha. O sinless Brahma, translation. You may know me, O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. Purport. The penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead face to face is to be understood as devotional service to the Lord, and nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service and transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is non-different from him. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. The living entities are encaged in the conditions of material bondage because of their propensity for overlordship. But by engagement in the devotional service of the Lord, one becomes detached from this enjoying spirit. The devotees automatically become detached from worldly enjoyment. And this detachment is the result of perfect knowledge. Therefore, the penance of devotional service includes knowledge and detachment. And that is the manifestation of the transcendental potency. One cannot enjoy material illusory prosperity if he desires to return back home, back to Godhead. One who has no information of the transcendental bliss in the association of the Lord foolishly desires to enjoy this temporary material happiness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that if someone sincerely wants to see the Lord and at the same time wants to enjoy this material world, he is considered to be a fool only. One who wants to remain here in the material world for material enjoyment has no business entering into the eternal kingdom of God. The Lord favors such a foolish devotee by snatching all that he may possess in the material world. If such a foolish devotee of the Lord tries to recoup his position, then the merciful Lord again snatches away all that he may have possessed. By such repeated failures in material prosperity, he becomes very unpopular with his family members and friends. In the material world, the family members and friends honor persons who are very successful in accumulating wealth by any means. The foolish devotee of the Lord is thus put into forcible penance by the grace of the Lord. And at the end, the devotee becomes perfectly happy being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, penance in devotional service of the Lord, either by voluntary submission or by being forced by the Lord, is necessary for attaining perfection. And thus such penance is the internal potency of the Lord. One cannot, however, be engaged in the penance of devotional service without being completely free from all sins. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Brahmaji was sinless, and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord, tapa, tapa. And the Lord, being satisfied with him, awarded him the desired result. Therefore, only love and penance combined can please the Lord, and thus one is able to attain his complete mercy. He directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. Wow, what a purportant verse. So packed with so much of meaning. So the Lord is saying here, Lord Brahma, that you were perplexed, but I asked you to do penance, and by this penance, you came out of illusion and everything was revealed to you. And then Krishna says something, and the Lord is saying something very amazing here. He's saying, such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are not different. Now, I must be quite honest to you. It's the first time that I've read such a statement by the Lord, that such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are not different. Now, we know from various statements in the Bhagavatam, the Lord Krishna is saying, Prahlad Maharaj says in the 7th canto, not by austerity, not by charity, and so on. In the 11th canto, Lord Krishna says something like 3 or 4 times, and I've got the verses, where he says, not tapaha, not by austerity can I be known. And here, the Lord is saying that this austerity, this tapaha, this penance is my heart and soul, and this is non-different from me. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada makes another astounding revelation. Prabhupada says that such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is non-different from him. So one may become confused, saying, whoa, what is going on here? There's various places in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam where in one sense tapaha is being denounced, where Krishna is saying, na tapaha. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, na tapaha. Not by austerity can I be known. Not by austerity can I be attained. But here, the Lord is saying that this austerity, this tapaha, this penance is the internal potency and is non-different from him. Dear devotees, how do we make sense of this? How do we understand it? Would any of you like to say? It's actually it's revealed in the purport. Prabhupada reveals, clarifies, and answers this. But I'd like to hear from you all. How do you reconcile this? Anyone likes to say? Okay, we shall discuss. So, there are two types of penances. There is the penance that's done out of false ego, and then there's the penance done out of love. And Prabhupada says that in the very last line. Prabhupada says, therefore, only love and penance combined can please the Lord. Hiranyakashipu, he performed so much of penance. Did Lord Krishna go and say there, that penance you've performed is not different from me? It is the internal potency? No, no. So when penance, when austerity is done for the pleasure of the Lord, when austerity is done under the instructions of the Lord, then it becomes bhakti. Because bhakti, as we know from the definition of bhakti, anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavrita anukula yena anushilanam bhakti. What is? I'm getting a bit mixed up here. Uttama bhakti. So Uttama bhakti means it's done for the pleasure of Krishna as Krishna desires. So Brahma had acted according to Krishna's instruction as Krishna has desired. So he was performing devotional service, as Srila Prabhupada says. And we know devotional service and bhakti is the internal potency of the Lord. And this internal potency is not different from Krishna. So penance, when done as an act of devotion for the pleasure of the Lord, then it is the internal potency of the Lord, which is non-different from Krishna. In the third canto, there's an interesting incident there. So Kardama Muni, he was the son of Lord Brahma. He was instructed to beget children. So he performed austerities for 10,000 years with the desire to get a wife. So in the 21st chapter, we see this very interesting exchange between the Lord and Kardama Muni, where the Lord comes to him and says, I'm pleased with you. And then Kardama Muni says, a little embarrassed, he tells the Lord that I've been performing these austerities, but I've been doing it with a selfish motive. I've been doing it because I want a good wife. But then he sort of pauses and he said, actually, the truth is, I am doing this austerity to get a good wife only because my father, Lord Brahma, has asked me to do this service. Otherwise, I am not particularly inclined to get married and have a wife. But my father, Lord Brahma, he wants to increase the population and he's asked me to do it. And why does Lord Brahma want to do it? He wants to do it because you've instructed him. You've instructed him to populate the world. So actually, this austerity that I am doing to ask for a good wife is to please you. And then the Lord becomes very pleased with Kardama Muni, and he tells him, actually, you are going to get the best wife. Because very soon, Manu's going to come with his daughter. And then he said, I'm so pleased with you by your austerity and your mood that not only will I'm arranging for you to get the best wife, but I myself will become your son. That's how pleased the Lord was. So it pleases Lord Krishna very, very much if we do austerities we know that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with the devotees when they performed austerities. And Srila Prabhupada explains very beautifully in the purport, why austerities? Does Krishna just want us to suffer? Does he just want us to do penance? Does he likes us to see ourselves depriving ourselves? He likes to see us depriving ourselves? No, no. Because as Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, austerities or penances or tapaha detaches us from the material world. Because it's not possible, as Prabhupada is saying in the purport, to seek the spiritual world at the same time try to enjoy material gratification. And Prabhupada says very nicely that if Krishna sees his devotee trying to do that, then he'll intervene. And he'll intervene by how? He will forcefully put that devotee in a situation where he has to accept penance. And through that penance, he will become detached from the material world. So it's just like so much to discuss and say about this verse and the purport and the importance of purport. And Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Sanatana Goswami came to see him, when he was in Varanasi living in the house of Tapan Mishra and Chandra Shekhar, they said to Mahaprabhu, there's a fakir, there's a Muslim gentleman. No, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them, please go outside and look, there's a great Vaishnava there. They went out and looked and they saw a disabled Sanatana Goswami with a beard. And they went back to Mahaprabhu, says, no, it's no devotee, there's just a fakir there. And Mahaprabhu said, no. And he went out and he met Sanatana Goswami. And he was looking at Sanatana Goswami without saying anything. And the next day, Sanatana Goswami came, all shaved up, clean, renouncing anything he had, but he still had one blanket. And Mahaprabhu didn't say anything. Mahaprabhu was just looking at the blanket. And Sanatana Goswami knew. And immediately he went to the gut and he gave this blanket away and he accepted a very torn, poor shawl. And when Mahaprabhu saw this, Mahaprabhu was very happy. In the same way, the example of Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was the son of Govardhan and Majubhadan, the wealthiest person in Bengal. He left home, but his father was still sending him coins. Every day, Raghunath Das would use those coins. He would invite all the Vaishnavas and serve them prasad. But after a while, he stopped doing that. And Mahaprabhu asked, why isn't Raghunath inviting the devotees and inviting me anymore? And they said, oh, he felt that he's become a renunciant. Why is he still accepting money from the father? Mahaprabhu smiled. So where is Raghunath Das? Oh, he's now begging. He's begging outside the gate of Lord Jagannath. Oh, very nice. Mahaprabhu was pleased. Then after a while, he couldn't see Raghunath begging. Where's Raghunath? And they told him, oh, Raghunath felt he was like a prostitute. Every day sitting here trying to get from the same person. So he doesn't beg anymore. So where is he? Oh, he's getting his food from the place where they give free meals. Oh, okay, very nice. So after some time, Mahaprabhu saw Raghunath Das is not coming to the place where he's getting free meals. Why? Where is he? Oh, he felt he's not being a proper renunciant. So how is he eating? Oh, that place where they discard the food from Lord Jagannath, he gets that, he washes it and he eats it. And Mahaprabhu was very, very pleased with Raghunath Das's austerities, simply to become more and more detached from the material world and more attached to Krishna. I've gone on a bit. I think I should stop here. Take any questions, comments, or reflections from anyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupaji. Thank you for a brilliant class. I just had a little question that Krishna normally bestows favor by taking everything away from the devotees. Then why did Krishna act the other way in Sudamaji's condition? Kindly shed some light on this, please.
I've heard something recently which was very insightful for me. Actually, very, very subtly, it is said that Krishna noticed that Sudama had some pride about his renunciation, about how he was poor and he was renunciated. And Krishna bestowed that opulence on him to remove that, even that little pride about renunciation. Because we know too much renunciation makes the heart hard. Too less renunciation makes the heart hard. Bhakti is about the balance. Not too much, not too less. So the heart always remains soft. And Krishna likes a soft heart, and Bhakti develops in a soft heart. So that's what I heard, Mataji, and I'm sharing that with you, but there may be other reasons. If anyone knows, they can feel free to share, please.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Mila Mataji.
Prabhuji, can you just, put some light on today's Ekadashi, please, if that's okay?
Oh, you meaning the pastime behind it?
The relevance of today's Ekadashi, like this, it's shiny Ekadashi, right?
Yeah, I have to admit, Mataji,
They
I
also
haven't read.
call Ashadi Ekadashi also. I think Ashad is a month. So, but yeah, if you can share some light.
I haven't read the Katha today. I've just been so busy. I was going to do it later tonight.
Okay.
So if anyone knows in the group, please share. You must have already read about it. But
Or it's okay, we can do next. I'll leave it to you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
okay, I can't remember off the top of my head the significance, but if anyone during the day has been reading the significance, you can paraphrase or share maybe, or we can read later. Sorry, Mataji.
That's okay, Prabhu. No problem. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Prabhuji, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mataji.
No, I'm done, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Motherhood Pranamo, glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Namo Bhai Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, so what in, I know I am extremely fallen, Prabhuji, but I'm just trying to understand the how, as in what in today's world is called austerity and penance that would please Krishna?
There's a different ways of looking at it. Let's see how Srila Prabhupada, everything we follow Srila Prabhupada's example. Srila Prabhupada, one barometer is the first verse from the Nectar of Instruction, Vacha Vegam Manaso Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam Udara Pasta Vegam, that well, in one sense, the biggest austerity is to control the tongue in Kali Yuga. Obviously, there's following the four regulative principles, but controlling the tongue, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. In this Kali Yuga, the tongue, the duty of the tongue is to taste and to vibrate. So the tongue wants to taste all sorts of foodstuffs. So the austerity to control the tongue is to only eat foodstuff that's offered to Krishna. And relatively speaking, in Kali Yuga, that can be quite a severe austerity. But even bigger than the austerity of controlling the tongue's desire to taste palatable foodstuffs is the tongue's desire to talk about others, to vibrate. The first thing people do when they get together, the inclination is to talk about gossip, prajalpa, talk, village talk. So to control the tongue, not to talk prajalpa, and to only talk about Krishna, that in Kali Yuga is for us probably the most important austerity. Besides, in one sense, Krishna consciousness is not a huge austerity because we sing, we dance, we hear Krishna Katha, we experience so much of joy in the process itself. But the austerity to control the tongue, if we use the first verse of Nectar of Instruction as Srila Rupa Goswami, our Rasa Acharya, speaking to us, is something we should really focus on. The austerity to taste anything not offered to Krishna, and to eat palatable foodstuffs, and 2 is to speak anything outside of Krishna consciousness.
Thank you,
Hope
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
that
It did help, Prabhuji. Yes, Haribo. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anything else by anyone? Okay. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be in your association again. You're dedicated devotees to Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to your service. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhibhyevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanande.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the
Hare
contribution.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Prabhuji.